Welcome. Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Education's July 11th, 2024 regular session meeting. Please stand as we observe a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Ms. Christie.
Face the flag. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to take a moment and welcome our new student board rep, Ms. Elkins, to the board. And Ms. Christie, I believe you have some information to share with us on her.
I do.
We're excited.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'm excited as well. I've already gotten an opportunity to work with Ms. Elkins some, and I'm just really excited to have her on board. As announced in May, Sophia Elkins, a rising senior at Halls High School, was selected by the Student Representative Selection Committee to serve for the 24-25 school year. As the board member representative on the committee, I would like to officially welcome Sophia as a non-voting board member and share a little information about her. Sophia is a member of the National Honor Society and has a weighted GPA of 4.46. She is an 865 Academies Ambassador and a member of Hall's Student Government Association. Sophia also participates with Team Board of Knoxville, the Scholars Bowl, FCA Leadership, and the Knoxville Children's Theater. She is a member of the Halls High School varsity tennis team and was selected by her peers to serve as team captain. She is also a manager for the Halls High School wrestling team. Sophia is part of her church's worship team as both a singer and piano player. In her other community service and projects include community theater, mission trips, where she served at Norwood Elementary School, Adrian Burnett Elementary School, and the Western Heights Baptist Center, Boo at the Zoo, and Fantasy of Trees. One of Sophia's references stated that she is mature, well-spoken, determined, and just an all-around great young lady. She challenges herself in the classroom and represents all of what a Knox County student should. Another stated that she is honest, intelligent, and has a desire to help others. And without hesitation, I give her my highest recommendation. And from what I have already learned about Sophia, I echo those sentiments, and also would like to add, being on the committee, one of the things that impressed me when Sophia interviewed was, when we asked how you would engage other students, she didn't give the typical social media answer. That was included, but she also said that she works with elementary students, and she feels it's important to hear their voices as well. And that's not a perspective that we always hear from our student reps, so that really made an impression on me. So, love that. Welcome again, Sophia, and I know I speak for the full board when I say we look forward to serving alongside you this school year.
Yay, welcome. We're so excited to have you. Next on my announcements, I want to thank Reverend Butler for bringing it to our attention that we do have a conflict for the November 7th meeting since TSBA is also, it starts that day. So I'll work with Dr. Reiswick on some recommendations and bring them to the quarterly work session on July 25th, if that works. And I think Ms. Coatney's going to reach out to individual board members to kind of get your thoughts and ideas on what you guys would like to see for the November meeting. We do have a couple changes to the agenda. Y'all received an email yesterday, but I just wanted to announce that the law department had provided us with an edited version of the MOU with CAC for the foster grandparent program listed as item 6C, is it 6C14? Yeah, 14. For our review at Monday's work session. Following the work session, a finalized version incorporating the requested edits was received, so that attachment has been added to the agenda. And also, after our work session on Monday, Mr. McPherson noted that the maintenance department vehicle purchase being considered as item 10D would be made with dollars from the fund balance designation approved by the board on June 6th and not general purpose funds, as was indicated. So the agenda caption and documentation have both been updated for that item. Are there any other requested changes? Okay. All right. Motion by Ms. Horn, a second by Mr. Watson. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, well, we get to start this evening with a student presentation. So I'm excited about that. Ms. Christie and Ms. Pike, I know you guys have been working on it. Ms. Christie?
Yeah, I would just like to, before they start, first welcome them. I know Ms. Bike and I had a meeting with them earlier, and I have been really impressed with the thought they have put into this project. They've been very intentional with working with district staff and been very collaborative. And I think it speaks to approaching something you see as a problem in a positive way and working to make a positive impact. So I am excited to see their presentation tonight.
Welcome. Hello, Celeste.
Thank you so much, Board Member Christie, for introducing us. And thank you so much to all of you for letting us speak today. My name is Aya, and I was here in March during a public forum meeting to talk to you about the same thing I'm speaking to you all about today, making period products more accessible throughout the district. After speaking to you all in March, I ended up getting in contact with Board Member Bike, who helped us bring this to you today, along with the help of Board Member Christie, Ms. Coatney, Sophia, Celeste, and many others throughout the district. This initiative is very important to me and many other girls because we've had an experience where we or someone we knew could not easily get a period product and had to suffer because of it. This is the goal. We chose this as our goal because we believe the easiest way to make period products more accessible to students is by putting them where they will need them, the bathroom. Many students in the district do not know that the nurses have period products available in their offices, and even those who do might feel embarrassed about asking to use them or could be worried about the amount of time it might take out of class to go get them. This is why it would be best to have them in the bathrooms. Our goal is also to have this be a student-led initiative, with representatives at each school helping to make this program possible, along with one staff member. There are 218 bathrooms in total at all middle school and high schools in the district, so we understand that this goal will take time and multiple steps to be achieved. There are 28 states who have legislation on period products. The majority of states in our country have legislation to make sure students are able to access free period products while they are at school. While our state is not one of them, it shows how it has become more and more common for schools to address the need for period products on campus. This is not some out-of-the-box idea and is projected to continue to grow across America. As of now, our school district is paying for period products, but most students are not able to easily access them.
So these are the effects of period poverty on students. Period poverty is defined as when an individual does not have access to or cannot afford period products. 84% of students have missed class due to a lack of period products or know someone who has. 23% of U.S. teenagers cannot afford period products at all. 86% report that they have been caught in public without period products. 90% of girls start their period by age 13, making it essential that the middle schools are also involved in this project. 51% of students feel like their school does not care about them if they do not provide period products in their bathroom. And 61% of students have worn period products longer than recommended because of a lack of access, which is dangerous and can lead to things like toxic shock syndrome, which can often even be lethal. Some benefits of giving access to students for period products would be to increase attendance. Students would avoid using period products for too long. It promotes a safer and more comfortable school environment. It reduces stigmas on the idea of periods and reduces feelings of embarrassment and shame. Additionally, by putting these products into the bathrooms, students would be even less embarrassed because they won't have to seek out nurses or that designated person to get a period product. Now, why Knox County schools? 12.7% of Knox County is under the poverty line, and 63 out of the 91 schools in Knox County are part of the National School Lunch Program, meaning that 25% or more of students qualify for free meals, meaning that it is highly viable that a lot of students don't have access to period products. Additionally, 49% of KCS students are female, which means that there are a lot of students that would find this helpful for them. And from just some personal experience, many students at our schools do not have the luxury of being able to afford these products, making them feel embarrassed, and which is detrimental to their learning. Now, there has been legislation passed across the country. For example, in Alabama and in Nebraska, school boards have opted to put period products in the bathrooms at no cost. And the Midwest City, Del City Public Schools in Oklahoma provided 200 dispensers within the school bathrooms, which offered free period products to students. Fort Worth, Texas is a district similar to Knox County, as they have around 74,000 students, while KCS has 80,000. Additionally, their voter map is fairly similar to ours, so this makes Knox County schools a great place to implement this project, making it where it can be done.
Many places, such as Fort Worth, mentioned in the last slide, use dispensers to make period products available within their district. The state of Utah also uses dispensers within many of their schools. Dispensers are an easy way for students to access period products. Back in June, with the help of Ms. Denton, we applied for a grant from KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, that would give us enough money to buy 28 dispensers from the brand shown above that would fit the period products KCS currently uses. If we get the money for this grant, we would want to put one of them in each of the 17 high schools in Knox County and then continue to distribute them from there. Currently at KCS, these schools have period products. However, this is not done through the school system, but made possible at Farragut and CMA through the work of their PTO and student committees. West High also tries to always have free period products through the work of their Women Advocacy Club and other students, but it is not as consistent as Farragut or CMA. The fact that Farragut, Career Magnet, and West are the only ones to have free period products highlights an inequality within our schools. Both West and Farragut do not qualify as part of the National Lunch Program, and thus it can be inferred that many schools who have this program need it even more. West has not had any incidents regarding period products being misused, and from what I've heard, neither have Farragut and CMA.
However, the dispensers are a lot of money, and we realize that. So I have proposed a beta program that we can put into schools by August. This beta program will test whether period products would be a positive presence in the school bathrooms. This would, like I said, be put into place around August. With this plan, period products will be put into bins at the various schools, like the ones at West and Farragut. The supply for these would be used that Knox County has, because we talked to Ms. Denton and Ms. Wagner, and they said that Knox County has been buying these products for years, and we have years worth of supply, so that should not be an issue when it comes to affordability. This will allow us to best know how to further improve and install the projects in the future, because we have a QR code. This QR code will be used in our bathrooms. Girls can go in, scan it with their phones, and you can scan it right there in your seats if you want to be led to the form, and they can say where they used it and what condition it's in and whether or not we need to refill it. These are the baskets that we have proposed. They are $6.99 on Amazon. And I calculated a budget, and if we even wanted to go to 2 per each high school, it's only $80. And I talked to Mr. Adams about installation, and he said it should be possible. We are asking for just support from the board, and we need contacts at each school to make sure that this happens and that it's not uncontrolled, because unlike Farragut, Halls has had issues with abuse of period products in the bathrooms that aren't even free. So we need to implement something that implement a way to not discipline, but to manage misuse of these products. And then I want to form a group of students, one from each high school preferably, to monitor these, because as I said, it was a student-led initiative. And I think that this is a prime opportunity for the 865 academies to work with, because many of these places have a health academy or they have HOSA, and this is just part of women's health, and it would be a very good opportunity for them to get involved with something that matters in their school.
Where we will start. So we want to start with one bathroom having free period products in each high school in Knox County schools, and then continue to grow the project from there to middle schools. Okay, so addressing possible issues. As Sophia said, places like Halls have had incidents with period products. So we understand that there could be a fear from both board members and administrators that having period products in the bathrooms could end up to obstruction to the products or the general school. Although, as I've said, from what I've seen at West, having it as a student-led initiative lowers these chances. West, once again, hasn't had any incidents. However, in the case that there are possible issues, it will be dealt with on a school-by-school basis, and we'll have student representatives working with school administrators about how they can stop these incidents from happening. In the worst case, an example of a possible way that this could be dealt with would be by having period products put in the student office where students could access them, but a staff member would be present. Although, once again, this would only happen if it was needed, and as the beta program progresses, we will be able to see how different problems arise and the solutions that we can come up for them. Overall, we would like to emphasize the fact that putting period products in schools would make so many girls feel more comfortable. There has been research done by multiple organizations that has shown how having period products at school increases female attendance and productivity. Also, Knox County already spends money on period products each year. In an email, Ms. Wagner told me she was planning on ordering a supply of period products for the upcoming school year. It is unfair that many students who need these products are not able to easily access them. By implementing this plan, we will be improving the experience of so many students across the district. What we are asking for. Again, what we need the most for this project is your support. We are asking for the board to back this movement by making sure it has the supplies it needs to thrive, both period products and the containers to put them in. We are asking for those bins to be installed by maintenance before the beginning of the year, one container at each school. We are also asking the school board to make every school administrator aware of this program and how it will work. We plan to send a one-pager to be given to school administrators before the beginning of the year so they understand how the program works. We also hope that if we struggle to find representatives or staff at certain schools, then school board members that have contacts at that school could try to help us if they wish. And if after the beta program ends, there shows a need for more period products being needed for the program, then we hope to discuss with the board about how we can get more. Once again, the thing we need the most is your continued support. And then these are some resources about how putting period products in schools can positively impact the school community. The first link is not right, but the rest of them are. So, thank you guys so much.
Thank you, guys. Does anybody have any questions for the girls or any discussion? Girls, I have a call tomorrow with a local organization that helps out with this as well. So when I talk to them, I would love to bring your initiative up and see maybe how they could partner with you as well, because that may be a good resource for you guys too. So. Oh, yes, Ms. Pike.
I just want to say thank you for bringing this to the board. I am so impressed because there is no way at your age that I could have done that. So I'm so impressed. Thank you for representing Knox County Schools the way you're doing.
Awesome. Mr. Triplett?
Yeah, they did a great job. I know this will probably fall under, I guess, Dr. Adams, your kind of purview. Do we have thoughts on what our next steps are, or what we need to do to move that forward?
Madam Chair, Mr. Triplett, I've been in contact with Sophia, and certainly we are 100% in favor of this. I've already spoken to our Director of Maintenance, Mr. Tao, and so he's aware. What we're waiting on is their proposal and their plan. So she will reach back out to me respectfully. I wanted her to meet with the board so you all could hear the proposal and give the necessary input. And then moving forward, once I receive their proposal, I didn't know if it was going to be a pilot or if the request was going to be for every school. Of course, we'll have to get a timeline, and we'll have to wait for orders and for the baskets to come in, and then we'll move forward.
Awesome. Anyone else? Okay. Well, thank you again for spearheading that. And yep.
Maybe this is for Dr. Adams. Are we going to have any issues with purchasing those baskets, or is it just a part of figuring out the plan and moving forward?
I don't think we'll have any issues with purchasing the baskets.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. I can assure you that.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks again. All right. Moving into our regular agenda items. Ms. Coatney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 6, consent agenda.
Motion by Ms. Horn, a second by Ms. Christie. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 7A, approve first reading of Knox County Board of Education Policy B200, policy development and adoption as amended.
Okay. Motion by Ms. Horn, a second by Reverend Butler. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
7B, approve first reading of Knox County Board of Education Policy G320, tuition assistance program as amended.
Okay. Motion by Reverend Butler, a second by Mr. Watson. Do we have any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
7C, approve first reading of Knox County Board of Education Policy I-211, selection of instructional materials other than textbooks as amended.
Do we have a motion by Mr. Triplett? Second by Ms. Christie. Any discussion? Ms. Warren?
Yes, I'd like to make a substitute motion that we waive second reading on policy I-211 and approve it on first reading.
Okay. Do we need a second for that? I'll second. Okay. Second by Mr. Triplett for the substitute motion. Any discussion on that? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
7D, approve first reading of Knox County Board of Education Policy I-212, reconsideration of instructional materials and textbooks as amended.
Yes, I'm sorry. Can I
Yes.
speak? Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to make a motion that we waive second reading and approve policy I-212 on first reading.
Substitute motion by Ms. Horn. Second by Mr. Triplett. Any discussion? Mr. Dupler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to point out on 212, and it's probably not the, well, I mean, it's not the major focus of the new amendment to 49-6-3803, but it certainly is an important part, which talks about the 60-day time limit for a decision on a reconsideration of a book. And the way it's written now, the board can approve it, and it's legally sufficient. But what it provides is that some type of school-to-level determination is to be made within 60 days, and the board will basically sign off on that in essence, and then a person has the opportunity to appeal it to the state commission. Again, which is fine if that's what the board wants to do. However, if the board wanted to make sure that there was some type of a district-level determination or a combination school-level determination, district-level determination, the policy would be the place to have that information in there. So, so what'll happen is, in essence, a decision, if things stay as they are, a decision at the school level must be made within 60 days. If it's not, automatic appeal to the state commission. If that decision is made within 60 days, then after that decision, a person can then appeal it to the state commission. Or they could appeal it on up the chain, and that's all provided in the procedure that is attached to this policy. So, I mean, a person could choose to say, okay, well, school determination, fine, I'm going to appeal it to the district, and then if unsatisfied at the district level, I'm going to appeal it to the board. So that's how that breaks down. Again, if that's what the board wants, no problem at all. It's legally sufficient. But if you want something different, I would suggest that now's the time.
Thank you, Mr. Dupler. Ms. Owen? Ms. Owen?
I knew what I wanted to ask before he said now's the time. Because what I was going to suggest is that since we know we have to have this 60 days in here to meet current law, that we go ahead and do that and then leave it on the agenda for policy review so that we can look at what we need to do with that process. But is that a problem?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Owen. Yeah, when I say that, I'm saying, because you're going ahead and changing these policies now, it's probably a good time to do it. But to your point, you can adopt this policy today, and then the board can come back and make changes, at policy review. That's certainly within the board's purview as well.
Ms. Horn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I just want to make sure I understand. So if we leave it like this, the challenger would have to let the process play out at the local level. The other option that we could change it to is that they could go ahead and appeal to the state right away. Am I understanding that correctly?
And it's confusing. It is. I apologize. But but the way it is now, the school, a committee at the school has to make a determination within 60 days. If that's not done, automatic appeal. After that 60 days, determination is made. Let's say that they make a determination. School makes a determination within 60 days. Let's say it's 45 days. Well, at that point, again, the person is able to appeal to the state commission.
Because they've gotten their local
answer. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. The way it's worded is you've gotten your local answer.
Okay.
As an alternative, that person can still appeal it up to the district and the board, but they don't have to. So.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So my point was, and you don't have to do it today. I mean, I don't mean to imply that you have to do it today, but I mean, if you want to change this at some point, another option would be either accelerate the appeals, which I think would be unwieldy, or look at some other type of review that maybe is a combination of reviews instead of just the one school level. So.
Okay. Okay, I think I would probably agree with Ms. Owen. I would say I think we should probably pass this now and then come back to it after we've kind of have a little more clarification. I feel like we need to pass something now, and it sounds like we're not quite ready to do that in any other form today.
Yep. I agree. Ms. Owen?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think we want to think about it's also possible that the state board could hand down some rules that we haven't considered, and we may have to just change the whole thing again.
Any more discussion? Okay. Well, seeing no more discussion, we'll go ahead and vote on this item. All those in favor say aye. 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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
7E, approve first reading of Knox County Board of Education Policy I-241, school libraries as amended.
Ms. Horn.
I make a motion to waive second reading and approve Board Policy I-241 on first reading.
Motion by Ms. Horn. Second by Mr. Triplett. Any discussion? Ms. Spike.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a few questions for, I'm not sure which of our departments, but I've read through this, and I'm curious what our process for abiding by this by the start of the school year is going to look like. Since this will likely affect every single one of our libraries and all of our schools. And also, this might be for Mr. Dupler, if this is applying from K through 12, so if, or is the age appropriateness for each school? Sorry, these are literally just things that I had thought about before the meeting that I didn't think to ask on Monday.
Dr. Wesley.
I'll jump first, and we'll let the rest of the team jump in. So I will say this, because this was a conversation I actually had with Gary and another board member the other day. I think to paint a realistic picture, and I'll let Keith and Aaron clean this up if they need to. I think back when the school libraries were the kind of was passed late and they all had to go online. We have to submit to the state every year early on, like a compliance with all state laws. That year we told the state this was going to be a process, and we weren't going to, I mean, it was impossible unless we had all of our teachers just starting to log all their library books for the first 3 weeks of school, that wasn't going to happen. I think our approach is going to be similar in this one. This will be a process. I know Keith has the number of books we have in our library. We won't be compliant with the law the day the kids come into school, and I think that that's going to be conversations, probably public forum conversations and everything else that are going to happen in that process. We will report that to the state, what our process is to get there. I think in talking with Dr. Wilson, we obviously will start with obvious ones. There's a whole lot of gray, and this is why these kind of laws are difficult to translate. I think, as Ms. Owen said a few minutes ago, we will probably start getting some new guidance from the state. I know some of you all and Mr. Dupler are going to the law conference coming up soon, and I think there's still a lot of places for that. Again, there'll be some things that'll be real easy that are direct violations, and we'll work on those probably and prioritize those first. But I just want to be real clear to you all and the public, we will not be in compliance with this law when school starts the first day. And so what does that mean? That means could there be people trying to check out books and intentionally or not on any sides of this issue? Probably, but that's, the realistic part is it won't be compliance. I just want to make sure everybody understands that. And Dr. Wilson, I don't know if you would add to that.
No, Dr. Russell, thank you, Madam Chair. As typical, you answered most of the question the way I would have answered it. The only thing I would add, I think it's just, again, and as an addition to that, it's important to remember, this is going to be a large and complex undertaking, and it's going to heavily involve our librarians at the school who aren't even on contract right now. And so while I know that Sarah and her team have been working and thinking about kind of what some options and processes and procedures could be, we won't fully have any of that developed until she's had time to work with those teams and to think about, what this process looks like at the schools. What you said, I think, in the law, in places where we have clarity, obviously we can move and can move on certain things. But as we all know, there's interpretations part of that process over time too. And honestly, with it being so new, we are expecting additional guidance, I think, from the state and from others in terms of how to best interpret it. I know that Sarah's also been in touch with a lot of her colleagues across the state in different school districts and trying to, again, have some collective thought around kind of what this process looks like. So it's just really early for us to be able to nail down exactly anything in terms of what it will be, in terms of that.
I guess kind of a follow-up question after hearing that. Does that mean when school starts, I know we won't be in compliance, but will all of our libraries be open and available?
Yes, I mean, we don't have any plans for libraries to not be open that I'm aware of. Again, thinking about timeline, our first opportunity for Sarah and her team to even be with that collective group will be our August in-service day in early August. And so from there and from those conversations, we'll start working towards a process. But our plan is to have our libraries open and functioning as much as possible. Yep.
Thank you.
Ms. Horn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to point out, we had an email earlier, I think, that went to the board just with questions from a teacher. So not everybody may be looking at this policy as they're watching our meeting. So just so everybody is kind of understanding what we're talking about in policy I-241, basically the law, the verbiage in our policy mimics state law for the Age Appropriate Materials Act. And the school district is, as Dr. Reiswick said, we are to be compliant with that, and they will be in the process of going through that process to get there with guidance from Sarah Searles and also Dr. Phillips, I know, is involved in that with Dr. Wilson. So I appreciate you saying that some of those that are obvious offenders will be addressed first. As you guys know, those are the ones that I've been the most concerned about in the first place. I think that certainly there are books that are more difficult or more challenging to make a determination on. So I do appreciate you addressing the ones that are blatantly not in compliance first. So thank you for doing that. And I would ask that that folks are just patient with the process, and that I'm hopeful that we can get to a point where there are more questions are being able to be answered through the process that they'll come up with.
Yep. Thank you for that, Ms. Horn. Ms. Owen?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to say that I think that if we are looking very carefully at the definitions that are provided in the law, I think most of our libraries are very well in compliance right now. I would also hope that we will be very careful in removal so that we don't remove things that should not be removed. And it's been a while since I've read this, so forgive me if I say it very wrong, but in interpreting the First Amendment and the right to free speech, citizens also have a right to be able to access information and to be able to access a broad range of information and differing views on information. So if we are overreacting to the law and removing too much, I think we could be in a bit of a pickle, because we would be denying a constitutional right. So I hope we will be very careful there. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Watson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think it's also important to point out to the public that, not that this policy is not going to pass tonight, but even if this language, we weren't choosing to adopt it, it's the law, right? The Knox County Schools would have to follow and be in compliance with this, whether or not it's specifically pointed out in our policy or not. So my point in saying that is, if you are in the public and you have concerns about this particular law, the place to address that is with your state legislators. I'm not saying you shouldn't talk to the school board about it, but we don't have any ability to be in compliance or not in compliance with the law. We have to follow the law regardless of whether or not it's reflected in our policy. I know a lot of what's being talked about in the media is the fact that we're proposing to add this to policy, but even if we didn't, it's still the state law. And so that's the place to handle those concerns. And also would echo what Ms. Owens is saying, and I appreciate that you're saying it's going to be a process. It should be a process. We have a large library. We have a lot of books. There's a lot of interpretation that has to be done. There's some very specific definitions and probably more guidance that's coming, and it should be slow and thoughtful. And I'm confident in Ms. Earls and our librarians and our team here to be able to do that and do that well. They've been doing this for years with another set of parameters, right? This is not new. It's just adjusting to a different set of parameters. So they're very skilled in doing that, and I'm confident they'll continue to do that. So.
Any more discussion on this item? Oh, Mr. Diepler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just going to respond to Ms. Bike's question. Ms. Bike, this is a K through 12 law, so it only applies to, of course, all KCS libraries or K through 12, but it would not, for instance, apply to college libraries.
Thank you, Mr. Dupler, for that. All right. Seeing there's no more discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
8A, approve Tennessee Department of Education consolidated application for fiscal year 2025 IDEA Part B grant in the amount of $15,414,530 and IDEA preschool grant in the amount of $472,858.
Motion by Mr. Watson, a second by Reverend Butler. Do we have any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
8B, approve grant contract with the Governor's Early Literacy Foundation and receipt of grant funds in the amount of $12,000 for the Book Bus program.
Motion by Reverend Butler, second by Ms. Christie. Any discussion? I am so excited for this bus book program. All right, seeing no other discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
8C, approve grant contract with the Tennessee Arts Commission for the term of July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025 for an Arts 360 grant in the amount of $10,000 for Beaumont Magnet Academy's art program.
Motion by Reverend Butler, a second by Ms. Owen. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
8D, approve Dollar General Literacy Foundation grant in the total amount of $4,000 for Career Magnet Academy and West Haven Elementary School.
Motion by Reverend Butler, a second by Ms. Christie. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
9A, approve contract with Industrial Boiler and Mechanical Company Incorporated for provision of commercial boiler hydronic services at an annual cost up to $200,000 for the term of August 1, 2024 through July 31st, 2025, which may be extended for 4 additional years.
Motion by Ms. Owen, a second by Mr. Triplett. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
9B, approve contract with System Integrations LLC for provision of video surveillance systems at an annual cost up to $750,000 for the term of August 1, 2024 through July 31st, 2025, which may be extended for 4 additional years.
A motion by Ms. Owen, a second by Mr. Watson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
10A, consideration of nomination of Elston Turner for naming of Austin East Magnet High School gym floor.
Motion by Reverend Butler, second by Mr. Triplett. I know we do have a public forum speaker on this.
Thank you,
item.
Madam Chair. We do have one public forum speaker, Pastor Miller. And if you will state your names, we're glad you're here. Thank you for coming. And if you'll state your name and county of residence, you will have 3 minutes.
Welcome.
Madam Chair, thank you, Mr. Triplett, school board members. My name is Pastor Sanford Miller. I'm a pastor New Salem Baptist Church here in Knox County. Also, I work at MRU Foundation as a sports director. I see I'm on the clock for a pastor, so it's going to be difficult. But I come today on behalf of Elston Turner and the proposal to name the floor the Elston Turner floor, Clifford H. Ross Gymnasium, Elston Turner floor. Elston Turner was a proud member of the 1977 state championship Austin East, the first state championship team. He went from Austin East into Ole Miss, where he starred, led them to the SEC championship against Dominic Wilkins, was drafted in the 2nd round, went to the Dallas Mavericks, played 8 years in the NBA, 15 years professionally. His first job coaching was with the Portland Trail Blazers, and up to this day, he's coaching right now with the Minnesota Timberwolves. They made it to the Western Conference Championship this year. He continues, since he was in the NBA, he comes and he has a camp each year for kids to where all of the proceeds from the camp go to Austin East High School scholarships. So he doesn't keep a penny in his pocket. He gives everything back to the school. He has supported track. He has supported football helmets. He has supported several churches here in the city. Just had a street recently named in his honor a couple of years ago down by Vine Junior High School. It's called the Elson Turner Street. He's in the Knoxville Hall of Fame. He's going to be nominated this year for the Tennessee Hall of Fame. So he's made many contributions to Knoxville. As you can see, you know, he's done a lot, continues to do a lot. He's having a camp at 2 weeks at Austin East High School. If you want to come and stick your head in and see exactly what he does, we have about 120 kids that signed up right now for that camp. So you will be impressed not only with the camp, but what he does each and every year. So I hope you really just vote in his favor. You know, to have the floor named in his honor, you know, I think you wouldn't go wrong. But thank you for your time. I did good. I got 50 seconds left as a pastor. But just thank you, Madam Chair, and each of the school board members just for your time. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you, sir. Reverend Butler.
I'd just like to piggyback and say that from a number of people around our community, this is not because of his fame, but this is because of his service. And he's touched thousands of lives over the years of young men and families. So we thank him for his service, and I think this is well deserved.
That's well said, Reverend Butler. Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Yeah.
10B, consideration of nomination of Eddie Courtney for naming of Farragut High School Stadium.
Motion by Ms. Horn, a second by Mr. Triplett. Any discussion? Ms. Horn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You guys know I gave a glowing recommendation for Eddie Courtney on Monday night, and I just wanted to, I wasn't going to mention this, but since the gentleman before mentioned about the street being named, I think we have the opportunity to honor two great men this evening with these nominations, and Eddie Courtney also had a street name for him this week. So yesterday, the road that runs to Farragut High School from Campbell Station is actually a town of Farragut Road. So it is now Eddie Courtney, I think it's Lane, but it's Eddie Courtney Lane. So that was a great time of celebration yesterday. Yesterday was also Eddie Courtney Day as by the town of Farragut, and there was a resolution by the state legislature to honor Eddie Courtney. I can't remember exactly what the phrasing was, but anyway, it was a great day of celebration.
I saw all those celebrations yesterday. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was really a great and fun day. And so now we also have Eddie Courtney Lane. And it's just wonderful to be able to honor two great men, I think, tonight.
We're truly blessed by people who serve our community. Any more discussion on this item? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
10C, approve commercial lot land purchase and sale agreement with Sherry McAdoe for approximately 25.29 acres of real property located on Kimberlin Heights Road at a cost of $821,925.
Motion by Ms. Christie, second by Ms. Horn. Any discussion? Seeing there's no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
10D, approve request of Knox County Schools Maintenance Department to purchase 5 Ford Transit vans and 1 Ford pickup truck at a cost not to exceed $300,000 using a fund balance designation approved by the board on June 6, 2024.
Motion by Ms. Owen, a second by Ms. Horn. Any discussion? Seeing there's no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
10E, approve staff referral bonus program.
That was short. Motion by Mr. Watson, a second by Ms. Horn. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
10F, approve an increase of $2 to the cost of tickets for football games and basketball games and an increase of $1 to the cost of tickets for all other athletic events.
Motion by Ms. Horn, a second by Ms. Christie. Any discussion? Reverend Butler.
Just for clarification, is this for both high school and middle school? Or just, because what we have is the increase?
That's a good, Coach Brown. That's a good question.
Coach Brown, you can correct me. I think on the memorandum, it talks about that the middle school will apply to a $1 increase for middle school basketball, correct? Okay.
So it's $2 for high school and $1 for middle school?
$2 for football and basketball, $1 for all other sports. It would be $1 for middle school basketball.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, Coach Brown. All right, seeing there's no more discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. That's me opposing. So motion carries.
10G, approve instructional materials waiver for Emerald Academy to allow use of Wit and Wisdom K-2 English Language Arts curriculum.
Motion by Mr. Watson, a second by Ms. Horn. Any discussion? Seeing there's no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right. I believe we have some public forum speakers.
We do. Mr. Johnson? Mr. Johnson, if you'll state your name and county residence, you'll have 3 minutes.
Okay. My name is Mr. Johnson. Sure some of y'all know me, or you've heard of me, or think you know me. Got a theme song for everybody. Why did I do that song? I did it for the rest of your days to remember that when you hear that song, or you see this S symbol, that it is the first letter of my name, which is Charles, and all of my children. Now, remember these 3 minutes, as some of you have left a lasting memory in my children. I wanted to leave some memories with you. In other words, I'm going to re-gift it to you. Now, hopefully these 3 minutes, many will see why some of you won't even have a conversation with me for any length of time. Our principals, Mrs. Sayers, Mr. Bauca, Mr. Bartlett, Mr. Claxton, Mr. Davis, and Mr. Neely has never had that problem. Now let's begin. Now I've seen some depravity that has been present within Knox County's Law Department, Knox County School Board, feckless Superintendent Ryskovich, and the Chief of Insecurity, Jason Period, and to me it's sickening. Now we've met other people who have shared our stories with us, happened before we moved here and even after we got here. Now, what I've seen is that you have weaponized sexuality. You've used those snares and arrows to cancel conversations about racism. And with my family, you upped that arrogance, not understanding that my Bible says that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I'm still standing and speaking. You see, the reason I can do this is because there's a brown-skinned immigrant whose name is Jesus. He is the lifter of my head. He is the one that walks beside me. And he whispers, I will repay. I've come to understand that my mere presence, it irritates the demons, the principalities, the strongholds, and anybody else. And I can't say it's the majority of you because I will leave those broad strokes of bias to many of you who follow gossip. Now you will sit submissive as a servant, while I speak in silence, knowing that this dad is in front of you. Did you notice how loud silence can be? Families in Knox County, where I reside, have lived with this for days, weeks, months, and years. Your intentional generational silence over addressing the evil of racism, bigotry, and prejudice, along with the disdain for the family, has my cultural, emotional, and spiritual ears ringing. I am Mr. Johnson, dad of Cheyenne, Shekiah, Shake, Shantasia, who's here with me, Charles II, Shekalel, Shamare, and Shakora. Charles out.
Thank you. Alexis Rhodes. Is Alexis in the building? We do have one more, so if somebody steps this way, we can go back. Candace Bannister. Candace, if you'll state your name and county of residence, you'll have 3 minutes.
Sure. Thank you. Candace Bannister. Hi. Knox County resident. Whose job is it? Board Policy J210, harassment of students, says that Knox County Schools does not tolerate harassment, but in some cases it's not only tolerated, it's rewarded. When an administrator is the one who harasses a student, whose job is it to do something about it? Is it the responsibility of students, staff members, school board members, parents, or even the deputy law director? If people in these roles have brought forth concerns for years, whose job is it to take an action? Ultimately, where does the responsibility lie for an administrator who has served in 6 different schools in 9 years with numerous concerns and reports? If action had been taken at West, Bearden, Fulton, Austin East, or Carter, anywhere along the way, this admin would have not made it to his 6th school where 3 students died by suicide in his first year, the second of which was our 16-year-old son, Will. I know 2 school staffs put together folders of their concerns and gave them to central office. I still have my copy from one of these schools. My husband and I met with KCS leadership in the summer of 2017 to report our concerns following the suicide death of our son. Based on our concerns, a state-mandated investigation took place. We asked to see the report of the investigation, and we were told there was not a written report. The staff at Farragut met with leadership and others in the school system on the summers of 2017, 2018, and again in 2019 to express their concerns. There are only 2 board members here who would have knowledge of this time. In the summer of 2019, an awkward late July move downtown to HR on the Friday before students' return, which means staff had already been in school for a week, was not documented as a corrective measure. So still, nothing in his file. I went to Dr. Reiswick last month with my concerns regarding a recent appointment involving this staff member. I gave him detailed reasons from our personal experience why this wasn't a good placement, as those who would harass students and staff should not be in prominent leadership positions. He listened attentively and was very generous to give me his time. He said he was unaware of any of this history, so I provided him a list of people who would like to share their experiences. At this time, he has not reached out to any of them. Since Dr. Reiswick has no knowledge of this issue, and because the district always makes informed decisions, why doesn't he want to at least hear from these people? I'm baffled. Will cannot tell you his story, so I'm here in his place. As a former employee and as a parent, I want to know whose responsibility it is to take action regarding all of these concerns. Why has nothing been done? How can someone with a history like his have a clean record? I find it irresponsible, the result of systemic failure on the part of not following policies and not taking action, is disgraceful and disrespectful to everyone who suffered at the hands of this person for there to be nothing documented in his file. Thank you. I have copies of those files if any of you would like to have them.
Thank you. No, Alexis. All right, very good. Madam Chair, that concludes public forum.
Thank you, Mr. Triplett. Ms. Owen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to share some information with the board regarding Ms. Bannister's discussion. In 2018, well, first, we all know how hard it is to get a large group of people together for a meeting, or even a small group of people. Just to have a group of people and get them to show up for a meeting, it's very difficult. In 2018, I got a phone call asking if I could meet with some teachers. 24 hours later, someone had provided a home, and 20 teachers came to meet with me about issues that were going on at one of our schools. They had compiled very careful documentation, and it was provided to our administration. I think it was also provided to most of our board members. At that time, I also found out that something similar had happened at the prior school that administrator had been at, and that staff had compiled 23 pages of information and documentation of incidents that had happened with staff at that prior school. And when I went to find that, what I found out is that it no longer existed. So that information no longer existed, and this information that we know was there no longer exists. That is concerning to me, that we have a pattern of very serious complaints and concerns being brought to the administration, and that those are somehow disappearing from existing. I would really like to have us take a very long look at our procedures and processes in HR to find out why those things no longer exist, and how someone could be promoted without anyone seeming to know that any of those things were problems in the past. I know that I sent multiple emails. I know that the entire executive team was copied on those emails. So I know that there was knowledge, and I'm very curious to find out why that knowledge no longer exists. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Owen. Okay, well, with that, we are adjourned. Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not gavel out, so Reverend Butler, you were.
Thank you. I just wanted to let the board know that I will not be present for the quarterly workshop. I'll be at our general conference that we each every 4 years for the Amy Zion Church. So I will miss you all immensely.
Enjoy. All right, well, with that, we are adjourned.